My name is Kay. I'm a compulsive overeater, and abstinence is the most important thing in my life today. And I weigh and measure 3 meals off the gray sheet, write them down, call them into my sponsor, and don't eat in between no matter what. And through God's grace, I've been able to do that since May the 30th, 1981. So on Saturday, I celebrated 34 years of back-to-back gray sheet abstinence. As I was writing a little paragraph on GreyNet, the thing that came to me is that I could not lead the life that I lead without my gray sheet abstinence. I am helping my daughter so much with my 9-year-old granddaughter that you could say that I'm co-parenting. And there's no way that I could have the energy to keep up with her and her activities if I wasn't abstinent. So often I see people my age. I am 74 years old. And I see people who are barely able to walk, who can't do any exercise at all because they've put on weight and more weight and more weight over the years. And that is what I was doing. Before I came to Gray Sheet, my story is that my mother was a very controlling person, and she also tried to control all of our food. I believe that she might have been a compulsive overeater because of that element of control that she exerted over everyone. And so whenever I got away from home, I ate as much as I could and gained weight. I thought of myself as a fat child. But, when I look back on the pictures, I wasn't necessarily a fat child. I was not thin. I was perhaps a little chubby, but I wasn't obese. I come from a family where there is a lot of alcoholism and obesity. So my story is that I would go up 40 pounds and down 40 pounds, up 50 pounds, down 50 pounds, up 60 pounds, down 60 pounds. I did that kind of thing at least 5 times in my life. And I did a lot of different things to try to control my weight. I went to Weight Watchers. I worked for Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers saw me through 2 pregnancies without gaining a lot of extra weight in those pregnancies. But whenever I went off of one of these diets that I was on, it would happen like this. I'd start thinking about the food and I'd say, well, this food is made out of the same thing as that food that's on the diet. I don't see any reason why I couldn't have this food too. And this other food is very much like what's on the diet. I'll just add that one too, until I had just added everything and started leaving out all the healthy food, and I was back running my weight up again. One of the things I did that I like to tell when I'm telling my story is I counted bites. I had a bite counter. It was about the size of, maybe a cell phone, something like that. And it had a little red light on it. You'd punch the button and take a bite. And then, you'd take a bite and then you'd punch the button. And when the little red light quit blinking, then you could take another bite and punch the button. and the little red light would blink. And this was supposed to slow down my eating so much that I would begin to hear my appestat. And I did this for maybe 2 weeks, and I remember when I thought I heard my appestat, and I said to it, "Oh, shut up." And I got up and went to the refrigerator and got some more food. I have done many, many things to control my weight. One of the things that I really suffered from when I was compulsively overeating, besides hating myself for looking the way I looked, was the mental obsession with food. I thought about food all the time. If I was on a diet, then I thought about what I was going to eat on the diet and how I was going to have 4 ounces of this. No, I'll have 4 ounces of that. No, I'll have a half a cup of this. No, I'll have a... And I could think about this food all the time. Or if I wasn't on a diet, if I'd fallen off, then I'd be thinking about how I could get more food without anybody noticing. How I could eat more at the table at church where everybody brought a dish and I had to try every one of them. How I could get more at the all-you-can-eat restaurants that I insisted that we go to. So when I found this program, it was just a surprise. I had finally reached step 1. I had finally said to myself, I'm just going to quit all this dieting. I am going to buy some nice looking fat clothes at Lady Yaring's and quit all this, because this is worse for my health than this yo-yoing is worse for my health than just being fat. And after I'd made that decision, I met someone at my neighbor's house who had a guest, and that guest was a beautiful, slender woman with curly hair. And I was feeling so fat and ugly. It was May. It was the end of the school year. I was a teacher. And I said to that person, you probably don't have any trouble with your weight. Because I always had to bring it up. I didn't want anybody else to bring it up. She said, have you ever heard of Overeaters Anonymous? And I had not. And she began to tell me about it, about Grey Sheet. And all of a sudden, I was ready. I was ready to start. And that was May the 30th, 1981. It was the beginning of a wonderful journey. I love so many things about Grey Sheet. I love that I don't have to think about food. I love that when I'm in my home, I'm safe from any other food that isn't my Grey Sheet food. It's there because my granddaughter eats there, but I don't even know what's there. I don't have to think about it. Before, I knew everything that was there, and if you'd asked me, I could tell you exactly what was there. But now I'm free of those thoughts. I have to go look, and it's a wonderful thing. I didn't exercise if I was compulsively overeating. I started exercising in earnest in about 2003 because, on Grey Sheet, you haven't had the great gift of being able to keep your weight stable. But then there's this thing called aging that starts catching up with you. And so around 2003, I was convinced that I didn't want to have to give up any more food because my weight was going up. I was going to have to add exercise. And I began exercising regularly. And all of a sudden, I began to feel better. That exercise was good for so many other things besides keeping my weight from going up on my weighed and measured portions. I was even able to add food once I began exercising. And now I'm really dedicated to exercising. And I would guess that I am probably the oldest person in each of my exercise classes. And I am determined to stay with those classes until I am forced to go to the classes for old people. It's a great joy to me to do this, and only my abstinence makes that possible. I read a book called Younger Next Year, and the basis of this book was that exercise will keep you younger. And if you are not exercising, you are aging much faster, and they explain this all scientifically. And one of the things I took away from it was, well, you had a job. You went to that job 5 days a week. You can do the same with exercise. You can treat it as your job. And that's what I've done. I go every day, 5 days a week, and I know that I feel better and am healthier for it. But if I was not abstinent, I would not be able to do that. There is no way that I would be going to the gym fat. I wouldn't do that. I have a book of pictures that, the fat pictures stop after a while. And then there's just the pictures of me not fat. Not fat in Europe, traveling around. Not fat on my 55th birthday with my family around me. Not fat in London, where I spoke at the London GreySheet Roundup. Not fat when I am at both of my daughter's weddings, celebrating all dressed up at Halloween with my granddaughter, doing a yoga practice, dressed up as a 1980s person for my exercise class, and even dressed as a nun for Halloween. But all of these pictures that show me at the same weight is part of the miracle. Since I was a person who was always gaining and losing and gaining and losing, now we have 34 years worth of pictures that show me at the same weight, at an attractive weight that I enjoy. So there are many more gifts besides the physical gifts. I truly am a person that needed steps 1, 2, and 3. I needed to realize that I was powerless over food. I needed to realize that it was an insanity to think that I could manage my own life. I needed to turn my life and my will over to the care of my higher power. And this program gave me a way to do this that for some reason I couldn't grasp any other way. I cannot express the gratitude that I have for my abstinence, for the solution that I have to a problem that had really tormented me all my life until I came to GreySheet. Thanks.